Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the co-owner and creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I want to talk to you a little bit about the subconscious expectations when it comes to texting for the fearful avoidant attachment style individual. So before I dive into all of this, please know we are still doing our Boxing Week sale. We're wrapping it up very soon. You can use the coupon code BW30 and it gives you 30% off for everything. The all access membership passes and 3, 6, 12-month bundles, the lifetime membership right now. Basically those things give you access to all of the courses, 40 plus of them, with very long workbooks with intensive exercises, access to all the webinars we already have done. There's a couple hundred of them. I do 4 live calls every single week with our community, and then our attachment trained coaches literally run mastermind groups, guided morning and evening routines with our community as well. And it's all over video, so you get that like community feel and you can meet like-minded people. So check it out, and there's a money back guarantee. So try it. If you don't absolutely love it and you're not over the moon, then you can get your money back. And this is a great thing to do going into the new year, like starting your new year off on a different foot, having different intentions, setting the intention even to become secure in the new year. So check that out. I'll put a link in the description box below. Now, let's talk about the fearful avoidant. The fearful avoidant in the dating phase of a relationship, it depends which way they lean. But if they're leaning anxious, they're going to want to text quite a bit. Checking in at least, we'll go through the phases of the dating. In the early phase, they can often be a little bit more withdrawn. And this is because as they get to know somebody, they can kind of start off like trying to feel that person out, trying to see where that person is coming from. They're usually the ones getting chased in the early part of the dating phase of a relationship. They can be direct, showing their interest with people and be very clear about that they're interested. But when it comes to frequency of communication, they very much like play it cool and try to kind of take a step back, and they kind of act on more of their avoidance side. Now, as they get into like a middle or later dating phase, they can have higher expectations for more connection. But here's the really interesting thing that you want to know. The fearful avoidance amount of texting in a relationship has a lot to do. There's a very strong correlation with their emotional state. If they feel in their lives like they have time and room and space and energy, they'll be really great at communicating, and they'll really be like, getting that emotional connection need met. If they have stress at work, if they have a lot of family stuff going on, if they have a lot of like heavy things on their plate, fearful avoidants more than anybody else have a tendency to really withdraw. Dismissive avoidants do this profoundly as well. But fearful avoidants, I guess we wouldn't say they do it more than dismissive avoidants because it's not quite true, but they do it more intensely for the short periods that they do it in. So they can go like really missing for, a little bit of time. Whereas dismissive avoidants can have like a very pervasive pattern of going missing for longer periods of time, but having like little bits of communication here and there. And fearful avoidants are more on the roller coaster of communication, and that roller coaster is directly tied to their emotional state. And when I say fearful avoidants go missing more intensely, often if they do go missing for too long, they feel guilty. Then they will avoid dealing with the situation at all because they go, oh, I can't even go back into that dynamic. So in the dating phase, it can be like a really unique experience with an FA. If they're going through some kind of emotional hardship, stress, depression, anxiety, whatever it might be in their life that's prevalent, that can create, some fractured communication largely in a relationship. Now, another thing that will happen is fearful avoidants in the dating phase, if they feel like there's any red flags around trust, around not being valued, around being disrespected, things like this, fearful avoidants will also deactivate quite strongly, especially relative to how often they're used to communicating and texting. So you'll see, and I've seen a lot of people over the years dating fearful avoidants really struggling, feeling like really confused in this relationship dynamic, especially in the dating phase, because they get somebody who's so hot, who comes in so warm, and then so cold, right? This like hot and cold dynamic, being really present, really available, very focused on emotional connection and connection in general as you're on dates. And then in between, they can sort of fall off, especially if they're leaning more dismissive. So these are all just really important patterns to check in with, take note of, and really important things as well to recognize as a part of your patterning, right? Like these things are going to pop up from time to time, and it's important to become aware of. And what your job is to do if you're the FA is, number one, decide what you think is fair in terms of texting expectations, because maybe you're with a DA and you're getting even less text on a pervasive basis, and that's frustrating. Or maybe you're with somebody anxious and maybe you can't be as available as they'd like you to be. And when you get clear on your own expectations and you communicate them, really great things come out of that, because then we stop personalizing things, we stop giving meaning to situations that cause suffering. Oh, the person doesn't care about me, oh, they're dating somebody else and that's why they don't text me. A lot of times people just have really different internal expectations and sort of blueprints with how they deal with phones and communication. Also, people who didn't grow up without cell phones, like everybody has a different, unique blueprint. So we want to remember not to just project these ideas onto people according to what we think they should be doing or how often we think they should be texting, and not just project from our own expectations. Just expect people have similar ideals about texting and communication as we do. And the more we can have conscious conversations around this and understand what somebody else's needs are in that area and also express ours, we have space for effective compromise and communication. So I want to add one part to this video too, which is, what do we do when we see the fearful avoidant be on that roller coaster of texting where they're really present and available and then they're not? Well, number one, you want to recognize that a lot of the time for the fearful avoidant, they go missing because they're under stress. Fearful avoidants really deactivate when they're under personal stress. And they also strongly deactivate when they feel triggered by a situation. And in those cases, you're going to see a lot of that roller coaster kind of inconsistent patterns of behavior as the fearful avoidant is actually swinging from their activated to deactivated side, right? Anxious to avoidant side. And you want to understand that. And number two, it's important to be able to decipher what's going on there and have a conversation about, okay, I noticed that we didn't chat, or, I noticed that we didn't communicate for a little while in here. What was going on in your life? What was happening? Is there anything I can do to open up the dialogue and say, this is what I need in these situations. Are you available to offer that and to have that conversation? And if you are the fearful avoidant and you're not, just be honest. Just say, I've got a lot on my plate. I'm not that available a lot of the time, or whatever it might be. Have that honest conversation. That is going to help you a lot long term as the fearful avoidant. And the more you communicate about texting, the better. Okay. So hopefully this makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you're getting a lot of value out of this channel, and I will see you in the next video.